And welcome to Gulfstream Park West today on Columbus Day. We have a fast-made track, firm turf course. Ron Nicoletti along with Katie Stazak, a special holiday card, 10 races on tap this afternoon. And we have a carryover today in the Rainbow Six, which starts in race number 5 this afternoon. $13,000 plus. That's the last 6 races on the card. A 20-cent wager, and exciting day here yesterday, Katie, with all the wagering, and Tyler Gaffleone having a real good day.
He is. He certainly had a great day. We're going to talk more about that in just a minute, but he's a journeyman now and doesn't seem to be having any issues without that apprentice allowance.
And as Casey was alluding to, the people are starting to tweet around the country. They know about this guy, and that is Tyler Gaffleone. First day without his apprentice allowance. What does he do? He wins 4 races.
4 races. It was really impressive. And not only did he win 4 races, but he came out his absolute first race as a journeyman. He wins it, and he did it for Ralph Nix, yeah. So business as usual.
Show that tweet if you can up there, and that is the Tyler Gaffleone journeyman today. I guess they're having trouble with that. Second tweet we want to show this afternoon is there's the first one, Tyler Gaffleone. Very nice. And here's the second one, 21-year-old pony being retired. He's been around a long time around the road, as much as me.
I thought this was I thought this was really nice to see. You know, these pony horses, they work really hard, and they're out here every day. They're working with the race horses. They're helping to keep them calm, and they're a little bit underappreciated at times. I know I have my favorites here at Gulfstream and Gulfstream Park West, and here's one, 21-year-old pony, Nugget, getting retired in style at Belterra Park, had his own cake, and I just think that's really sweet and something worth sharing. Underappreciated worker on the racetrack.
Yeah, I got a carrot cake, which makes it even better. You know, I had a chance to spend some time up in Maryland during Pimlico week, and there is one very popular horse in them. He is Maryland Star, and that is Ben's Cat. Ben's Cat, everybody loved this horse. You had to hear the cheering when he came down the stretch at Pimlico during Pimlico week, and he is nominated to his 6th Maryland Million.
He is going to run in his 6th consecutive Maryland Million on Saturday. That is just unbelievable. He is the pride of Maryland. You can easily say that. We have our Gulfstream hometown favorites like Wildcat Red. We had Mucho Macho Man. Maryland is just one name. It's Ben's Cat. Actually, I guess that's two words, one name, Ben's Cat. But he's been nominated for the sprint and the turf. The Maryland Million is this coming weekend up at Laurel, so that's very exciting, and we'll see if Ben's Cat can add another win to his incredible resume.
Yeah, we're handicapping but far away. I'm going to tell you right now, use him on the ticket no matter which race he decides to go into. Ben's Cat, of course, trained by the one and only trainer that's the most popular man in Maryland.
King Leatherberry.
King Leatherberry. So it's just a great combination up there. Got to meet King Leatherberry, too, at the Pimlico weekend. Elected to the Hall of Fame this summer. Well deserved. Well, that's what's tweeting around the country. And, of course, as Katie mentioned, Maryland Million Week this coming week up at Maryland. And it's a great weekend of racing.
Yeah, $1 million up for grabs for Maryland Breds. Very nice. It's kind of our sister to the Florida Sire Stakes of sorts, celebrating the state breds, and always want to represent and support the state breeding programs as they continue to grow all throughout the country.
Well, let's get to Monday's special holiday card. The first race, a 6-furlong maiden claiming event for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up, $10,000. We got one scratch in the opening event, and that's number 5, Cat Lucky. Katie and I both went with the horse that's currently on the board at 2-1, and a logical contender in there, and that's Platonic Love, who was sitting on a maiden breaking performance, I believe, after responding last time out to a drop in competition. Goes 4 wide in that race and finishes second at the same level and distance. The trainer is Gustavo Delgado. Edgar Prado named to ride, and off that performance, the one to beat. Not a standout in my mind, but certainly the one that you have to give the nod to in the opening race.
Absolutely. Cut her tag in half, tracked the pace, rallied from 4 wide, and was only beaten a length and a quarter that day. Hall of Fame rider Edgar Prado going to pick up the mount. That sounds like a winning combination to me.
And number 7, Reagan's Odyssey, moved to the Marcus Vitale barn via the claim after breaking from the rail. dueling for the lead and fading to finish fourth behind aforementioned Platonic Love. Vitaly pretty good with the new claims, and he's doing a good job down here. He's been down here just a little limited amount of time thus far, and he's been hooking up with Matthew Rispoli, and they've been winning races at about a 36% clip here at Ding. I think they're 5 for 14 or something around like that, or maybe 40% clip down here right now, and it's very early. We only have our first week ending now, so a combination you have to look for in there. Third horse I used, Katie, was the 6 Close Connection, hoping to find just a little more in career start. Number 14 rallied along the inside last time out to finish third behind the common thread in this race, which is Platonic Love. I don't know about this horse winning it, but certainly could be on the ticket.
I threw in the 1 Sweet Hall, and I found it interesting that Edgar Zayas opted for this filly over Platonic Love. He rode both of them last time out. This one hasn't run since August 28th, had a rough trip that day and was on the turf, didn't care for the surface. But prior to that, she was running for twice the price of today's tag. Her numbers suggest she fits in just fine with this group.
Well, let's go to the second race of the day, and it is on the turf. It's a maiden claiming event for 2-year-olds, and they're going to run for $35,000. And we do have a scratch in here of number 3. Il Fratello has been declared out of the race. Katie, I went with the number 5, Shot the Sheriff, who I'll talk about in a moment, because you have the number 2, Mass Approval, on top of your ticket.
He's making his turf debut today, but he's certainly shown an affinity already for the distance of today's race, and that's what I was drawn to in his 2 previous starts against similar competition. He was second with his better effort when he only lost by 3/4 of a length, coming at the 5/8 distance of this race. His dam was a 3-time turf winner and stakes placed on the grass, so I thought this was an excellent spot for him to get that first win.
Well, we have a same 3, just in different order. I did start with the 5, Shot the Sheriff, on the morning line at 5-1. It's dropping to this $35,000 level on the grass, adding blinkers this afternoon after failing to produce a winning effort against maiden special weight competition on the main track. Ron Spatch, Edgar Zayas handling the surface switch. I just thought on the class relief and the surface switch, this was a horse I was going to use on my ticket.
Absolutely, and gets blinkers added today to help get him a little bit more involved early. That's certainly going to help.
What about the 6, Mason's Salas?
Mason's Salsa debuting today for trainer Mike Maker by 2-Step Salsa out of a Hal's Image mare. Like the work pattern, pretty consistent, not really particularly enamored with the times, but I think he's well spotted for the debut, and you have to respect this barn and trainer Mike Maker.
Yeah, the only concern I had was the so-so turf breeding, and it really didn't jump off the page at me, but right, a good barn and a good spot to maybe go with a first-time starter, adding him on the ticket for all the reasons you just mentioned. So that is race number 2. Remember, race number 2 is where we start our first of 2 pick 4s on the afternoon. And if you're just joining us for the first time here at Gulfstream Park West, boy, we have an exciting wager going on each and every race, and that's the Rolling Super High 5. It has been wild. Goes a couple of races, then somebody hits it. It paid $127,000 the other day, and it's only a 50-cent wager, and that's each and every race. An exciting bet. So every race that starts, but this second race particularly starts the first of 2 pick 4s on the afternoon. We're going to go to race number 3. It's a 7-furlong claiming event, 3-year-olds and up, non-winners of 2 races in life. We have no scratches or jockey changes in race number 3. And we're going to go back and show you a performance that Katie and I both used on our ticket, and that is of number 3 today. Go Romeo was the 2 that day, and that was on September 17th.
Had some trouble this day, and that's why I think he can really rebound in this race with a cleaner go of it. You're going to see him here. Coming up to the quarter pole, has to steady, really lacks some racing room. You see it's raining this day, so not a particularly easygoing course, but he ends up rallying. He's going to be second here in this race. I thought he came on pretty well after having to take back on the momentum and start up again to get on for second. That is the 2 in this race, Go Romeo. This was his first start at this distance on the main track. He's better bred for turf as a son of Shakespeare. He's made the majority of his races on the grass, but with a better trip, he can certainly be in the mix late in this race. He finds himself amongst a group of horses that collectively have little experience or success at this in-between 7/8 distance. So I thought definitely deserving of a spot on the ticket.
Yeah, me too. I feel off that performance, when you go back and look at it, he certainly has a chance to move forward this afternoon and maybe win it. Even though I did not put him on top of my ticket, and you did too with this. We put the number 6, Social Roy, facing winners after pressing the pace and early pace and drawing clear to defeat $20,000 maidens going 6 furlongs. That too was on a sealed, sloppy track. Bernardo Lopez, he's good with horses winning back-to-back races. Go Romeo for all the reasons you mentioned. And I closed it out in here with the number 2, and that is Bishop Sleeves. And this one, who broke his maiden going a mile in the 16th on a sealed, sloppy track, is going back to the dirt today, turning back to 7 furlongs after rallying last time. He finished 4th against this caliber competition. That was going a mile in the 16th on the turf. The barn, it's a limited sampling, but they're 2 for 5, 40%, with horses going from the grass to the main track. So looking for a good stat in there. I threw the 2 Bishop's Sleeves on my ticket on the morning line, I believe at 4-1.
Here's another good stat for you. 75%. Trainer Jose Pinchin, he is 3 for 4 going turf to dirt here. Last year, right here at Gulfstream Park West. He knows how to do it very, very well, and he's going to do that same thing today with the 4 Dance of Freedom. This one has not run on the main track since he did it here last November. In his second career start, he was 4th that day, but he's competed against a lot tougher in this group. So we'll see if Jose Pinchin can continue that strong percentage today.
We're going back to the turf course for race number 4. It's 7.5 furlongs. The turf course is listed as firm. This is a claiming race for 2-year-olds, $35,000. Scratch the number 9 horse in here, Wagga Wagga. And Katie and I both have the number 2 horse on the top of our ticket, and that's Kua Kanagati. And we want to go back and show you his performance from last time out.
Let's take a look at his career debut. This is the 2 today. Guacanagari, on this particular day, he is the 5 horse. This is his career debut, and he has a little bit of greenness here, shows some greenness. He drifts out in the stretch, but he is coming on with a late run. He's going to end up, not finishing in the money. He gets up for 5th, but I really like the way that he came on, and I think you see here, look him come flying late, and you see him, you don't have a chance to see him too much in the screen because he's out of the shot, but he drifts out and you see him angling back in as he picks up momentum. It's hard to keep that momentum going when you're not going in a straight path. He's getting blinkers added today. That is the key. He'll stay focused on the straight and narrow, and with the extra distance, he should be able to close.
Yeah, I mean, he's a son of Harlan's Holiday, so the distance should not be a concern as far as the breeding goes in there. Harlan's Holiday is one of my favorite horses on the turf. Should be able to handle this 7.5 furlong distance. I used the 4 in second, Katie, and that's Attack. And this one is a half to 4 previous stakes winners. Moved to the Jenna Antonucci Bonvita claim. Stretches out around 2 turns today on the turf. 7.5 furlongs here is a round 2 turn. Breeding needed to handle both the surface and the distance today. I think you'll like the surface switch and the distance. Edgar Zayas to ride. So I went back and looked. No great stakes winners like graded stakes winners, but this horse seems to produce horses that run very well on the turf. 4 previous stakes winners.
This is a pretty wide open affair. Outside of our top selection here, we have completely different horses. I threw in the 8, Wildcat Air Gelding. He's returning to the turf course for the first time today since August. He finished a solid 4th that day, and it was in maiden special weight competition. Last time out, 2nd on the main track behind a heavily favored horse in Woodburn. I think he's going to be more effective with the class drop getting back on the surface.
Well, I'll tell you about number 6, Little Paul. Is the son of Sydney's Candy, debuting for trainer Carlo Vaccarezza. Lasix added today. He's got a bullet workout back on September 27th, but there's an unpublished work that we'll be telling you about, and that was October 6th, also up at Palm Meadows. He works 3 furlongs fast in 37.11. So this horse, a couple of works coming into the race, and he's been working okay at Palm Meadows. We'll see if he can grab a share in here. He's on the morning line at 6-1, so we'll see if Little Paul can grab a little share of this race.
I also threw in Totally Evil. He's also making his turf debut today. A lot of horses making a surface switch or trying the grass for the first time. That's why this race becomes so wide open. Didn't come with a run last time out, but we'll see if this surface switch can give him a little bit of a boost.
Well, that wide open race, not in the Rainbow Six sequence because it starts here in race number 5. 1 mile and 70 yards. These are maiden claiming 2-year-olds. $16,000 scratch. No, not a scratch. Number 6, Black Shack is a gelding. The number 6 is a gelding. I thought it was scratch, but it's just he is a gelding. He will run in this race. Katie, who'd you start with?
I started with the 4 Thoristic, as did you. This one going to stretch out beyond 6 furlongs for the first time in his career today, but last time out rallied from between horses, which is pretty impressive for a young 2-year-old to do, to get up for second against similar competition on August 28th. Makes his 5th career start today. Tyler Gaffleone sticking with the horse, so I like that.
Yeah, and the trainer is Mary Lightner, so a logical choice, I think, to be somewhere on the ticket. Number 7, Dean of Salsa, 4th behind Thoracic on August 28th. Stretches out after rallying to finish second versus the same caliber competition, going 6 furlongs. That was in its last race. The trainer is Ralph Zadie, and he's got Luca Panici up top. This son of 2-Step Salsa, who they probably test his breeding limitations, I believe, at 1 mile and 70 yards.
It's definitely stretching it. Definitely on the end of that range.
Who else did you use?
Garava getting blinkers added, receiving Lasix for the first time, cutting his tag by more than half. Certainly one of those changes should play to his favor today. And as a son of Sarava, he should want every inch of ground that he could possibly get.
A horse I didn't know what to do with, that was the one, Moselle, and I just thought I was going to add this one to my Rainbow 6 ticket. I'll tell you why. She was given some time off by trainer Wesley Ward after this daughter of Trap Shot had trouble at the start and finished last against the boys. That was going 5.5 furlongs back on August 14th. The barn is solid with horses stretching out in distance. 7-pound apprentice Chris McIntosh in the saddle this afternoon. It's Wesley Ward. I just don't want this horse to beat me on my Rainbow 6 ticket, so I threw him in there. It's a filly against the boys. We'll see how that works out.
Definitely not unusual for Ward to do, always throwing in the fillies against the boys. And it really doesn't, there's not all that much of a separation at this age.
No, and you know, if the Rainbow 6 ticket, I would hate to be beat by Wesley Ward. So if I could single something a little later on, I'm use that horse on my ticket. Race number 6 kicks off the final pick 5 of the afternoon, and this one 5 furlongs on the turf. Fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. Non-winners of 2 in life. $8,000. Scratch the number 7. Whisper on the Street. I went with the inside horse. I'll start there with You Feel This Cornelius. Moved to the William Thoreno's barn via the claim. Going to break from that inside post this afternoon. Broke from the outside last time. It was like post 11. Duel for the lead. Weakened late to finish 6th against similar opposition. That was our Gulfstream Park turf finality at the distance. Rafael Hernandez will be riding today. And this barn really sharp with new claims, about 29%. And it's a daughter of Stroll.
Yeah, absolutely. Well suited to the turf with that kind of breathing. I went with the 3, Sakar. You also put her on the ticket. This one came just a neck from getting her elusive second victory last time out at the level and distance. Came with a late rush, really closed well. Just missed by a neck for trainer Rodolfo Garcia. She's really proved that going 5/8 on the turf is her specialty. So I'm happy to see that she's sticking at that today, because last time out she hadn't done so in 7 starts. So getting back on the right track at this particular distance between Sweet Candy, You Feel This Cornelius, and Far From Here, there should be enough pace for her to close into.
Yeah, and she was 21-1 last time out, so not going to get that this afternoon because it's a logical choice. And they're currently 4-1 on the morning line. Number 8, Far From Here, who we both used on the ticket, looked like she was going to score when breaking from post 10 last time out. She went up, set the pace throughout in that race, and just got nipped at the wire in her 3-horse photo that day. Juan Rodriguez, the trainer, Miguel Vasquez returning on the daughter of the Stoops, and she was on there. They hit the wire all together.
I think she's the speed of the speed today, but she is going to have some company.
Well, what else did you use?
Sweet Candy, turning back in distance today for Michael Yates, making her 3rd start off an 11th-month layoff, so she should be able to be fitter and carry that speed today.
Let's go to race 7, 6 furlongs, claimers, fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. Non-winners of 3 races in life or straight 3-year-olds, $6,250. 7 horses in the field with no scratches or jockey changes. And I think a horse here that some people are going to give serious consideration on maybe singling on the Rainbow 6 ticket or something like that. And we're talking about the 2, Artie Latino. And Artie Latino is stepping up to the next logical level after following her $10,000 maiden victory, going 5.5 furlongs with a $6,250 victory going 3/4 of a mile. Antonio Sano, Tyler Gaffleone in the saddle. Horse is on a roll.
A filly that's really figuring things out. Took her 6 starts to break her maiden, but then she comes right back and wins again. And what I like about her is that she knows where the wire is. She's won by a nose and a neck. So she's coming from just off the pace. She knows where the wire is. She'll make sure she gets there in time, even if you're getting a little nervous there late.
Yeah, we also both used the number 3, Rowana Daytona.
You know, I really have to credit jockey Jonathan Gonzalez with the way he rode this one last time out. It was his first time on her, and he really got her to relax and rate kindly. In her previous races, she really wanted to sit up closer to the pace. She was a little bit rank and pulling in some of those races. He did a great job with her. She rated, circled the field 5 wide, and drew off to a 1.25 length score. It was her second career victory. She hadn't won in 13 starts. Gonzalez keeps them out today, so I will keep her on the ticket.
And the trainer, Tammy Levy, is very good at winning consecutive races. She keeps them, in form, and that is a good sign. So, horse, I think you got to use on the ticket here. The third horse I did use was the 4 Venom Girl, who's a candidate, I believe, for a rebound performance today. Followed a really rousing 2 lifetime victory at this distance. Comes back, doesn't run that well against this caliber competition last time out. Victor Barboza Jr. is the trainer. He's got Misiel Jaramillo in the saddle. I'm just convinced, I'm going to forgive her for that one spot. I think maybe she can bounce back and grab a share of the exacta trifecta in race number 7.
I'm going to do the same exact thing with Dicosa. Stepped up to this condition level last time out. Didn't really factor while getting fanned wide, but she had the board in her previous 3, and she's 5 for 7 in the money at this distance.
Well, let's go back to the turf course for race number 8. It's a 1-mile event, maiden claiming fillies, 2-year-olds, $50,000, full field of 11 runners. And please note the number 10 will race with Lasix. Number 10 will race with Lasix. Want to go back and show you a performance of a horse that, Katie, you have on top of your ticket. I also have on my ticket, but not on top. And that is number 11 today, Born to Be a Winner.
This is Born to Be a Winner's career debut back on September 6th. Gets caught 5 wide in this race on the turn. Finishes 5th, but only beaten 3 lengths. Really continues to fight on pretty gamely. Drifts a little bit in and out. She's green. It's her first start. I thought it was something that she could really build off of, and she may have bled in that race because she's going to debut with Lasix today, stretching out from 5/8. As a daughter of Einstein, she's certainly bred for that stretch out, so I think this is a great fit for her.
Yeah, and it was a really nice performance last time out, as you mentioned, getting Lasix today, and it might be as simple as she won or less, but maybe had a bleeding problem running through the stretch there, but coming back, and I had to put her on the ticket for all the reasons that you mentioned, but I did go with the number 4 on top, and it is Sunshine Life, who's dropping to this $50,000 level, stretching out today to 1 mile after tracking the pace and finishing 4th as the favorite that day against Maiden Special Weight Company. That was going 6 furlongs, and it was at Kentucky Downs, and that is one unique turf course at Kentucky Downs, so it's very undulating, and trainer Wesley Ward, Rafael Hernandez, named on this daughter of Daha, who's certainly bred to love this distance.
And she's certainly quite the traveler. On her quest to break her maiden, she's debuted at Aqueduct, then ran at Pimlico, Belmont, and then most recently Kentucky Downs. Dropping in for a tag for the first time today. This should be an excellent spot for her. A little bit softer running for that tag. And when she ran at Pimlico in her turf debut, she was 3rd behind Finnegan, who is a very well-regarded and stakes-winning stablemate, also in the Ward Barn.
So Wesley Ward on top of my ticket for all the reasons I mentioned, a lot more that Katie mentioned in that race. Now, who else did you use? You used the number 8 in here, and that's Bold Char.
Debuting for trainer David Fox out of a Burning Roma mare, Bold Twitch. Consistent stamina-building work pattern. 3 of the last 4 works have been 5/8, so I like that. Should be ready to route first time.
Well, I used the 5-2, and that is Cowgirl Tough, who's stretching out around 2 turns after dueling for the lead, bumping at the 8th pole and finishing 7th. That was her 5 furlong career debut. Up at Laurel, it's Jane Sabelli, Matthew Rispoli. It's a daughter of Silver Tree. I'm looking for this horse to be part of the pace scenario today with a clean break and going from that sprint, stretching out around 2 turns. I think this horse can run well. We mentioned Jane Sabelli down here all winter long. She does an excellent job. Matthew Rispoli, a couple of great rides at Gulfstream Park West so far, so I thought I'd throw it on the ticket.
That might be one that I regret not having on there. If only I had more room.
Let's go to race number 9, 6 furlongs. This is maiden special weight. Fillies, 2-year-olds, 8 runners in the field. This is a nice race in here, and I got a horse I love, so I'll start. It's a horse I actually singled on my ticket, and that is number 6, Baby I'm Worth It. This one's going to wear blinkers this afternoon. He broke on top last time out. He got shuffled back a little bit to 10th. Then he rallied 6 wide. He finished 4th in her much-needed 5.5 furlong career debut. The trainer is Dave Brady, keeps the status quo. He's got Edgar Zayas in the saddle today. Went back and looked at this race, and I just thought off that performance and in this spot, I have to take a chance on my Rainbow Six ticket so I can add horses and races that I'm not sure of. I singled this one on top, but I don't know if that's the right thing to do with a horse like Riot Worthy in there.
There were 13 horses in that race you just talked about with Baby I'm Worth It. Right Worthy was one of them, and a lot of them were coming on late. Baby I'm Worth It was 4th, but there were so many horses vying for 3rd in that race. She easily could have been 3rd or 2nd in that race. Right Worthy similarly swung out 6 wide, got up for 2nd in that race behind a Ralph Nix first-time starter, which lately they're just absolutely unbeatable. I think she should eat up the extra 16th of a mile. I think these two, if I were putting my Rainbow Six ticket together, I'd probably use the 4 and the 6. But you could easily single either of them as well. They're both very capable of winning.
I mean, a smart thing to do would be to single those two, and maybe you also have to add the number 3, Will Be Magical, who's turning back to this distance after tracking the pace and flattening out a bit when finishing, I thought, a really stamina-enhancing 4th that was going a one-turn mile. It was in the slop. It was across town. Bill Kaplan, Juan Leyva. It's the daughter of Wilburn by Bernardini, and I just think turning back to 6 furlongs, and I know when I make my checklist with 2-year-old fillies, I always check Bill Kaplan's name right next to that. Does a fantastic job with them.
Absolutely, and this one, another who's run with some good horses. In her career debut, she was 3rd behind a repeat winner in More Royalty, who actually came back to beat the boys in an allowance.
Let's go to race number 10, the final one of the week, and on Columbus Day. 5 furlongs, firm turf course, maiden special weight, fillies, 2-year-olds, 11 runners in the field. We do not make it easy. And this final race of the day, no scratches in there. And I went with the number 2, Clover Knight. You started with the number 11, and that is Spicy Blonde.
The beaten favorite in her career debut at Kentucky Downs, Ron mentioned it earlier, it's so different than any other track here in America. It's got a very undulating surface, very European style. Set the pace that day while 3 wide and faded. Cuts back 1/8 of a mile, runs on a more traditional American racetrack today for trainer Wesley Ward, and I love Speightstown, daughter of Speightstown, so with that breeding, I gave her the edge in here. But please tell me about the 2, Clover Knight. Might be one that I missed, and a great value at 6 to 1.
No, she's a half-sister to $1.2 million earner Henny Hughes, who will give the turf a try. After breaking slowly, rallying late to finish 3rd in a maiden special weight debut, going 5.5 furlongs on the main track. I mean, it's a bit of a guess here because the turf breeding doesn't jump out at you, but, a half to, as I mentioned, Henny Hughes. Just thought this might be a horse that you want to use in the last race. Square price, and that's what you need to make this, maybe nail down the super high 5 in there. So I threw that one on the ticket. Who else did you use?
Blazing Diamond returning to the turf course for trainer Ramon Morales today. Came up empty on the main track on October 1st, but in her career debut, she ran a really strong 2nd on the turf to the Wesley Ward trained Revolver Sessions. Here's some homework I'm going to give you. If Born to Be Winner runs well in race 9, play this horse. Was also in this race. You'll also might want to play another horse in the race, Southside Strut, who was 3rd that day, so could become a key race today's card.
Well, number 7, Dagny's Revenge, a solid 2nd at this level and distance. It was back on August 14th, and a trouble 5th was bumped at the start last time out. Just needs to get away from the starting gate in a timely fashion to be able to run very well here in the nightcap. Harry Benson is the trainer. Edgar Zayas in the saddle. Just needs a little push from Lady Luck. Maybe get a clean start, and this one can certainly score in there. Second choice on the morning line at 4 to 1.
I was looking at Twitter this morning, and Pinnacle Racing, always very active on social media, has a huge following and a big group of owners with their horses. They were tweeting about the debut of Agave Sunrise today, who I have on my ticket. This is a daughter of Gone Astray, gonna debut for trainer Bill Kaplan out of a Silver Deputy mare. She's bred on both sides for the grass, and I really liked her sharp half-mile breeze on October 2nd. half mile, 47-4 over at Gulfstream.
What did we say in the last race? Bill Kaplan, 2-year-old fillies, put a check next to it. So a horse you might want to use on your getaway super high five ticket. We're going to be back throughout the afternoon trying to give you some useful updates. And don't forget, dark tomorrow, but we'll be right back here at Gulfstream Park West on Wednesday. But let's have fun today first.
Live in the moment, Ron.